There were three men in a town right near where the hospital is, a town that has a large number of undocumented Latino people, families. And these three men were near the railroad tracks in this town, and it was about 2 in the morning. They'd come from work, they're undocumented, they don't have any papers, and they don't have any bank accounts. They can't open bank accounts in most places or have access to that. They don't trust leaving their money anyplace, even in the room where they might live or the apartment they might live in, so they carry it on them. And there are other people in the area who know that they carry it on them, and they know the days they get paid. So these three men were not only robbed, but they were beaten very badly. One of them very, very severely beaten. Every bone in his face was broken. 22-year-old man, a younger brother. He had been in the States since he was 17 years old for 5 years. And he was brought into our emergency room first, and they didn't know if he would even make it. Sergeant Reggie called me at home on my cell phone one night and said, "Your son has been released from the hospital." And I knew who he meant. Your son was just released from the hospital. That's how we referred to the younger brother, as my son. It was one of the most moving experiences of my life. But I think Reggie realized that my concern was not just for him and for his health, but for his brother and their mother, who was living in Guatemala, who didn't know anything about this. So when Reggie called me and said, "Your son has been released from the hospital," it just was like this unbelievable gift to me, like a recognition that I have never had biological children of my own. I guess I must have pleaded for him as a mother would plead, for her own child. It's one of the richest experiences of my life, and one that I will treasure forever. To mother, behold your son. So, my ministry, it's incredible. It's incredible. So now we're working to try to get lights at that same area on the tracks, because we found out many, many others who've been there and who've been robbed and beaten, but if they're not beaten severely enough to go to the hospital, they don't tell anybody. They're so afraid that they or their loved ones will be killed. They really are. They're so afraid. I hope I've learned to really respect the human dignity of every person, no matter what their background is, no matter what they may have done in their lives, but to respect them and to see in them the face of God. There's that wonderful line in the play Les Miserables where it says to love another person is to see the face of God. For me, that's the greatest gift and call and challenge in my life, is to see the face of God in all the people I'm privileged to walk with and serve.